soon I will be there to brighten up even your darkest night. You just call on my name, and I know wherever I am, I come running. Oh yeah, babe, to see you again.
All right, we're getting a lot of people. I love this. Give me 1 second. We turn the song off. Fall. Give me 1 sec.
All you have.
All right, we are here. How's everyone doing today? I'm a little tired. I'm sorry. Went out with Dom last night. We had a really fun time. We got to hear a lot about Comic-Con, so we're going to talk a little bit about Comic-Con. We'll talk about it's this light. I'm not a fan of that light. Do you guys? That light's weird, right? Better? Is this better? Sitting at a different table, but we could do it this way. I don't know where Stella is. All right. So let's discuss the next 20 chapters, or the next 2 chapter 20 of our reading. What did everyone think so far? How does everyone feel? We're getting into the trial now. We've moved a little bit more forward since the last time. What's everyone thinking? I'm going to dive right in. Sorry, I really want to talk about it. My hair is messy. It's wake up hair. I just woke up. So what do you guys think so far? What do you guys think of Scout? What do you guys think of the courtroom? What about that scene with Atticus in front of where they're holding Tom Robinson, where all of those men came around? What do you guys think of what's her name? Mayella Ewell and the Ewells. What do you guys think of them? Right? I feel like I finished reading it this morning, and I feel like I could have kept going, and I kind of really can't wait to now. I can't wait to see what happens. Moving, right? Okay, Bumble Bailey, for me, the most moving part, the part that really struck me was Dill. Dill getting upset in the courtroom when he saw the way in which the prosecution was treating Tom Robinson during his what's it called? His cross-examination. I think, to me, that was so touching. He cared that much, and he was so upset by the way he was being treated that it caused him to have this physical response. I don't know if you guys have already kind of guessed it. I purposefully chose for us to read this book because of everything that's going on in the U.S. right now. Because I'd never read it, and because I thought it'd be cool to read something that's kind of relevant right now. And that moment with Dill in the courtroom and him crying, to me, that moment was like the one that rang true for right now, how I feel sometimes. And to me, it was like a moment of connection, you know? She saw Atticus in a completely new light. Exactly. Isn't that fascinating? I think it's interesting that she's discovering at the same time the humanity that is her father. Like, she's discovering how human he is, but also how much of a superhero he is at the same time. My favorite chapter was the most recent one with the courtroom. Let's talk about that, Scribe Sarah. Oh God, what did I just do? What did I just do? Okay, let's talk about that, Scribe Sarah. I felt extremely moved at the scene with Atticus and Jem after Miss Dubow's death. Wasn't that fascinating? That's one thing I really want to talk about really quickly before we continue with questions. This book puts a lot of thought into the way people see each other. And I think it's like so amazing. Because this is something I'm currently learning. What did Atticus say? I think this was actually last time, though. I don't think... I don't have as many notes in this book. What did he say? He said, Baby, it's never an insult to be called what somebody thinks is a bad name. It just shows you how poor that person is. It doesn't hurt you. That kind of goes back to that. I love how Atticus always has this ability to see the humanity in everyone and not immediately demonize anyone. You got to wear someone's skin and walk around in it, just like Atticus said Scout did to those men when they were about to attack him. Scout made them walk around in Atticus's clothes for a little bit. But that's something I want to talk about. It's that no judgment. Even when Mr. Cunningham was with the mob of men and they were going to hurt Atticus, Atticus refused to see him as a bad person, which is a theme I would like to say accidentally, not on my, I didn't do this on purpose, but it correlates from the last book we read. One of the things that Kurt Vonnegut said he learned in college was that no person is bad or good. Everyone's just a person, and that's why his books never had villains in them. So, like, I think it's super cool that Atticus kind of has the same ideal, that no one's really bad. And you see Jem starting to see people the same way, and then you slowly are seeing Scout start to see people the same way as soon as she starts to get to know people, like when she met in Chapter 20. I don't know if you guys read through Chapter 20 or not. I don't remember if I said through Chapter 20 or to Chapter 20. I read through it because it was like 4 or 5 pages more, and it was really good, so I kept going. But what was his name? Oh, it's back here. That's why it's like 219. Hold on. Mr. Raymond. When she met Mr. Raymond, she saw him as something, but when she got to know him, she's like, oh, this guy's actually very interesting. What about Jem starting to grow up? I think that's interesting, but I think that's something that happens with siblings that are close in age. There is that point in time where the older sibling, even though the amount of time hasn't lapsed, the amount of knowledge or wisdom you gain in that amount of time makes you a lot older. Diego and I experienced a very similar thing. When I got to like that age, we disconnected a little bit, and then we reconnected when we both were on the same plane again. And I think that's what's happening. I think it's a part of growing up. Why did Jem surprise you, Nicole? That's interesting. Children are born with an open mind, and it's people around it. Yeah. Crazy. It's crazy. And him breaking the kid rules by telling on Dale. Yeah, but that was the adult thing to do, to be like, hey, I need to be a responsible adult. And that was that moment where you see that Jem had that loss. Jem is now past that point. Jem was like, no, dude, your mom should know where you are. That's me thinking as an adult. Or as someone who's a little more positively allergic to my presence. I love that quote. Someone that's a little more understanding of her responsibility. No, we're not supposed to finish the book. We're only reading up to chapter 20. Don't talk about the last 10 chapters. Oh no, you caught my sickness. I'm so sorry. All right, yeah. Let's talk about Aunt. Let's talk about their aunt, Aunt Alexandra. Let's talk about her. What do you guys think about that? What do you guys think about Aunt Alexandra? What do you think about her specifically coming at this time? Why do you think she came at this time? I think there's a reason. I think she was foreshadowing some of the distaste that they were going to get from the courtroom. Like, the county's not very happy with what Atticus is doing. But let's talk about that really quickly, because I love that part. When Atticus is like, Scout, I had to do this. If I didn't do this, I couldn't live with myself. Couldn't go to church. That sense of moral obligation to the truth and to what's right. I love that. Alexandra's grown on you. Please talk about that. Triforce of Dragons, awesome name. How has she grown on you? Because for me, I have a very... I don't like her. I don't like Alexandra. She's not my favorite. Because I don't like what she's doing to Atticus. But that's like it's a family. But I think Atticus is such a cool character. Such an interesting and like amazing person. Seems like a very rigid person, but she has her reasons. She does have her reasons, and that's something I think we're supposed to see. We're supposed to see her reasons. Just like Atticus is teaching Jem and Scout that, I think we're supposed to feel that as readers and become more and more objective and less upset and subjective. We should start to... I think that's the whole point of this book. Trying to make Scout a lady. Yeah. I think that's something that's super cool, though. The whole town seems to know how awesome Atticus is. And I think it's kind of awesome that he's, like, hiding it from his family. Yes, Sierra, I love that Atticus defended Calpurnia. And then I love the scene when they went to church with them. It was discovering this whole other world that was very close to the world that they lived in. And I think that was cool. Also, I thought it was just fun. It seemed like a fun scene. Oh, like a hand into a glove. She fits right into Mako. Scout's amazing. I'd say she's an awesome character. Exactly. She is trying to protect them. I think that's a very good point, Jane. I think Alexandra is trying to protect them. Why not? Matt Salick, why don't you like that she's trying to make Scout into a lady? Let's talk about that. Yes, let's talk about that. I love how honest Atticus is with Scout and Jem, but I think that we talked a little bit about that in our last live. I think that comes from the respect he gives them and the respect they give him in return. They call him Atticus. He treats them like adults. When they ask him a question, he gives them the answer. He doesn't lie to them. It would take away her personality. I agree. Exactly. Jem acting the way they thought Scout would with growing up. If Scout very quickly learning what it means to be a woman, living really. Now, let's just talk about this really quickly. Isn't it amazing that Harper Lee was writing about these type of gender stereotypes and gender roles at the time she was writing about them? She had this whole... I mean, the way that she's enforcing Scout being like, no, I can do this and still be a lady. No, I can do this, like you guys are all talking about. I think it's amazing. I'm going to tell us the next 4 books at the end of this live, so everyone that's asking. At the end of this live, I will release the next 4 books. So we're good. Ronnie, I agree. They are relevant today, which is kind of saddening. But things are changing. For the better. So we're all right. Hold on. I'm trying to find quotes right now. Yes, Nephilim Hearts. Let's talk about that. I love how this book does make you think about some of the good things that have changed. But I think it also makes me very obvious. It makes it very obvious how many things haven't. And how many things we still have to work on, which is always a good thing. To be able to see what we have to work on. Who can I relate to most in this book? I relate to Scout a lot, believe it or not. I relate to a lot of the kids. Scout, Jem, Dill. Because in a way I feel like they're trying to figure out adulthood, but they're not. They're just like making observations on the adults they see and trying to say how that like what their behavior says about how they should live and like go throughout the world. And I feel like I'm still doing that right now. I'm still kind of figuring out how to be a grown-up person. And I'm looking at the example of my parents and the people that I love, and then moving forward with that. Yes, Amelia Pickles. I hope is that really your last name? Because that's an awesome last name. It's like Tommy Pickles from Rugrats. Church on Sunday and gambling hall on the weekdays. That struck me as well. I was like, that's very interesting. I had a note that I wrote down somewhere, but the problem is I just kind of wrote notes in here and I didn't really mark them that well. So I will keep doing this. Let's talk about our favorite quotes for the next 10 chapters. Anything that you guys really liked, anything that made you guys think, anything that you guys are like, ooh, that was cool. Well, I just saw your question, Claudier. What do you think is the key idea of this book, the most important idea that is conveyed to make us think? I think there are multiple. I think the main story of this book is the racial tension that happened in the South, that happened at that time of this trial. I think that's the main story and how Atticus goes through it, right? But really the story is about Scout, discovering how she's going to be a lady and fit into her culture, with the example of her father through this period of time and how that shapes their future. One of the things I love is when Atticus was like, when he explains to them, I'm sorry that this is happening to you, but I hope in the future you can look upon this time with compassion and understanding. Yes, I would agree. Atticus' monologue at the end of the trial was beautifully written. But should we read that real quick? For anyone that didn't. Down. Intro. No, we don't need to read it. But I'm excited to keep reading. I don't know what's going to happen now. Now it's just waiting to see what the verdict is, or when they come back. There are some kind of men who are so busy worrying about the next world that they've never learned to live in this one. And you can look down the street and see the results. Mobs are always made up of people, no matter what. Yes. Well, Rita, I think that's an interesting thing. What if Boo and Tom are the mockingbirds? Are mockingbirds, since they're both innocent in different ways, and it's a sin to kill a mockingbird? I don't know I haven't read farther than we're supposed to, so I don't know what happens yet. But I would say there are multiple mockingbirds in this book. I think Boo could be a mockingbird. I think Tom could be a mockingbird. I think child innocence can be a mockingbird. And it's a sin to kill that innocence. It's a sin to ruin that for children. It's a sin to I think start teaching hate. So I think there's a lot of mockingbirds. I don't think it's just one. I think there are, and I think that was one of the things she was trying to do, saying, look at all these different I think Mayella Ewell is a mockingbird. I think she was trying to say, you can't, all of them are people. They're all mockingbirds. That's what I think so far. We'll see how the end goes. Because she wants you to see that everyone is the same. Everyone's a person. I think Scout's childhood will end earlier because of these events, and that's sad. I don't know what that means. When does childhood end? I think your innocence will go. Yeah, maybe you're right. That is sad. What made me pick this book? I've never read it, and I've always wanted to. I want to see the movie. I've never seen it. And I also felt like it would help right now. It'll help with a lot of things. It'll help with both seeing that we still have to change a lot, and it'll help with seeing that people are people, and we have to understand and really listen to the other side so as to not just yell at each other. You have to see that they have their own intentions and they have their own reasons for believing what they believe, and it's completely justified. We have to find a middle ground, or we're fighting for what's really right. Not who's right, what's right. That's a little bit. So, let's get back to quotes now. Quotes. I haven't seen the movie, Jackie, so I don't know. I'm going to watch it when we finish the book. Ooh, I think she's trying to show how many bad things can come from innocent people. That's interesting. That's a good thing to say. Why do you think Mayella didn't say that her father beat her? Well, I think this comes from the embarrassment she felt of having attempted to, like, what's the word? Like, from hitting on someone that was not deemed okay by society to hit on. Remember, Scout says that she feels bad for, she pities her just like she pitied, like, the mixed children in the town because they didn't have a place. The Ewells were too low class and too considered, like, not good enough for white people, but they weren't part of the black community either. So they were in this place of unknown. And he said that she was only... So you really get this image that Harper Lee says, I want you to understand where she was. She never got any help. She was lonely. She was tired. And this was like a more handsome gentleman that would come and help and was sweet to her and kind to her. So one day she tried to kind of see if that would go anywhere. But at that time, super bad. So the reason she wanted to say her father beat her, because then that would be admitting that she antagonized the situation. She's the one that created it. And then that would also just muddle her name. As if it isn't. But, like, you know, it wouldn't be good. It'd be very embarrassed for her. I think it's all very important and all very debatable. It's different from everyone's perspective. It's very interesting to see how other people view the story, and yet it makes it difficult to understand. Yes, I don't think her father was just beating her. Renee, there is one line that I agree with you, that I agree. There's one line she says, or she stops when she's about to say something. She made, like, a comment about her dad doing something to her, other than, like, you know. And I agree. I think her dad was the one that did it. And I think in this specific case, I think the way Tom Robinson kind of explained it is probably what happened. I think he might have been a little more forceful trying to leave because he knew he was in a terrible position, and he knew he really had no rights when it would be in a position of, like, her place, like her word against his. So he had to get out of there as fast as he can. But I do think his description of happened is way more accurate than hers. And I feel it's that embarrassment she felt of her father catching her doing this to this man, also a black man at the time, it made her accuse him. And I think her father did beat her for it. Why was my dad mad at Atticus? Because Atticus is trying to bring something else out, the truth, and they didn't want to tell the truth. So you're left-handed. Why would you bring that up? You know, my daughter has a bruise on her right side of her face. It's a whole thing. Maki Kirill, where Mr. Gilmer says, you felt sorry for her? You felt sorry for her? I felt this point where Lee is pointing out that it's not just about color, but about domestic situations and mental situations. I don't think domestic or mental situations. I think it was about... I think that was a race thing. I think it was very clear that he was like, you, a black man who is not above a white person, feels as though you can pity a white person. You know, like, you felt sorry for her. That's like insulting her in a way as well. Being like, she has more than you. Her family has land. You're a black person. Like, how could you? That's almost. See, I think that was like an insulting thing. Atticus is very clever, but I think it's because of his ability to listen and understand. Anyone else have trouble with the accent? Or maybe that's because English is my first language. What I do when I hear a word and when I read it, and I'm like, how does that word sound? I try to say it out loud. I'll do like a southern accent and read it out loud. I don't know if that'll help you, if you're familiar with a southern accent. But I would say try it. Try to read it out loud. That always helps me. The book is To Kill a Mockingbird. I don't know. It's written everywhere. So let's keep talking. All right, let's talk about. Let's go beat by beat now. Let's talk about where did we start? We started after So I'm just looking through, and I'm like, whoa, I remember all of this. It's just cool to like look through and remember the story. Another thing that I just thought of, Atticus. To me, there's a reason. Atticus. Think about the part Aunt Alexandra was there to do what? She was there to teach the kids about what it means to be a Finch. But Atticus never really cared about that because, as far as he's concerned, I think people are people, so a Finch is not better than anyone. So there's no reason for them to learn why they're so good because they're still people. I think that further breeds into her distaste for his kids because they share the same understanding, being like we're people. They're learning it, I think. They're learning that understanding. Oh, that's a good question. What do you guys think about Dill running away? Let's talk about Dill's whole story. Like, what was he doing there? To me, that part is a little weird. I think I have to reread it because I think I was like falling asleep that night because that scene was just weird to me. But why did he run away from home? Because he wasn't cared for. So what do you guys think about Dill? Moonlight Bay 2910. You can join the book club just by staying on the live. We read, I post on Twitter how far we read, and then we talk about it. It's pretty simple, actually. Get the book, you read it, any language you want, and then you join and just have a discussion. Why was you think so? His mom was falling in love? I like Dill a lot as a character. Yeah, he wanted time with his family, so he moved somewhere he felt needed, where he felt loved. And I think that is supposed to foreshadow Mayela Ewell. Like, think of the things people will do when they don't feel loved, or they don't feel like they're cared for or needed. Yeah, Dill was inspired by Truman Capote, which I think is super cool. Dill is constantly searching for a father figure. I think he wanted to be around not only Scout but Atticus as well. I think that Southern routine that they all got together is something that they all really loved and enjoyed, and I think Dill did miss that. But I think there's something in the fact that he didn't feel needed, and he was willing to run away and sneak into their house at night and have them find him and play even the risk that he might just have to go home. They might make him go right back home, like, because he didn't feel needed. I think my father is kind of like Atticus. I think I feel very lucky in that sense. Wise. We're talking about To Kill a Mockingbird. Maybe Jem. Oh, I think Jem is definitely kind of a big brother to him too. They definitely have a very familial thing. Hey, Sarah, what's up? They definitely have like a very familial connection there. Like I think Jem acts as an older brother to both of them, very much so. I think you're right. Miss Dubose. I think Miss Dubose is I think literally all of the people we meet in the book are meant to teach us the same thing in different ways. People are people. We're in the book, Sarah. We just started the trial. Atticus gave like his last speech being like, you guys saw there was no evidence. You guys witnessed this. This case is as clear as black and white. So I hope that you guys make the right decision and see what the facts that you saw honestly, beyond the shadow of a doubt. We're at that point. We haven't gone much farther into the trial. The kids had just gone outside and they met Mr. Raymond, who only drinks Coca-Cola from the thing. How funny is that? How weird is that? What do you guys think about that? At this, I think that's talking about this town and how this town is so. Hey, Pops, what's up? I think it's talking about how this town. Pops, aren't you in Australia? Isn't it like really late there right now? I think he's talking about. I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, guys. I literally just don't remember what I was saying at all. Oh, I love that though. The court is supposed to be the national equalizer. Thank you, Ms. Sarah G. Miss Sarah G. Thank you. What do you guys think about that? $4:35, Pops. Wow, it's early. People in town. Oh, the people in town care so much about their own appearance. Everything's so much about appearance. He's the only one like actively contradicting that. Aunt Alexandra came because she wanted them to keep up the appearance of the Finches. She wanted them to do that. And then I think it also shows how much of this, how many of these like race problems and how many of these problems actually stem from some sort of vanity and fear of not being seen as good in the town. I mean, think about it. Mayela Ewell, the reason why she's accusing this man and willing to ruin his life is because it's if the other happens, the opposite of what she wants happens, it ruins her reputation and how she's seen in the town. They're not seen very well, but it's better than being seen as a woman who wants the affections of a black man at that time. So I literally think she was setting it up. Every person you meet, she's setting up to feed into those themes of vanity, the themes of this idea. What do you guys think? She does, Jordan. She does. But I think this is something that's interesting. You say Maycomb thrives on essentially stupid rumors, but a lot of towns do. Maycomb isn't that different from any small American town. And I think that's another point she was making. Exactly, Rita. Exactly. All of that feeds into that vanity that really spurs a lot of the race. I mean, think about it. They don't want Atticus to be seen as this. I'm not even going to say it because I hate that term. But N-word lover, and I don't know what would you say, lover. They say he's like this, and that's ruining his reputation. So Alexandra comes in to kind of make the Finches seem respectable again, and she tries to tighten up the kids. But the problem is, they're not on that bullshit. They're above that. They literally are like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Because I think it'd be better for more people to speak, not better for more people to speak English, but I think it's better because more people speak English than Spanish. So that's why I do my whole life in English. I'm sorry. What do you think about the moment when Scout stands on Boo's porch and sees Maycomb in a different way? I don't remember that. Exactly, Miss Vera Louise. Miss Vera Louise. Yes, they don't care about they don't care about the truth. They care about how they're seen. And there are multiple examples in history of this exact case happening, but in real life, where the outcome was not good for the defendant. We've got Emmett Till. We have the Groveland Four, which my friend Josh did a lot of work on. You have there are multiple examples of that, of this type of thing, where people were willing to ruin and have other people murdered to save themselves. So isn't that strange, though? I mean, I think that's a huge theme in the book, and I think it's interesting. She's literally calling out a lot of problems with Southern culture. She's talking about just culture in general and the status that appearance gives you. She's talking about problems with women's place and them having to fit into some sort of role, some gender role, and the same with men. Ooh, the Crucible. I was in the Crucible. We could do the Crucible next. Or Tituba from the Crucible. Oh my God, that's what. Yes, absolutely. Salem witch trials. Exactly, Sarah. Sarah, hell yeah. But yes. So there's a lot of examples. You're very right. Similar morality, and in a lot of ways, absolutely. So interesting. But that's one thing. The reason we're reading this book is because I wanted everyone to be aware of this and to read it and to say, wow, this is really weird. What's happening in our world right now that happened in this book that I don't want to see to fruition? What's happening in our world right now that I can change, or I can actively just start speaking about in a new way, a more enlightened way? Mass mentality can be terrifying. And then we'll go back with that quote, Sarah, we'll go back to the mob. The mob mentality that took over. They were willing to hurt Atticus, a friend of theirs, a man of whom they respected. They were willing to hurt him in order to get to that other man, because that mob mentality. And it took an 8-year-old little girl to break that of them, for them to see the humanity in the situation and kind of re-acknowledge their own humanity. What does that mean? How does that speak about the purity and the honesty and being truthful and the innocence of the children? I think that's something that she's putting on there, being like, look, this like pure child who just like literally doesn't understand the situation, is just being honest and is open to everything. Everyone following just to save themselves. You're right, Lainey. And what do you guys think about that? 1935, this book is set. 1960, this book came out. In 2017, this book is still as freaking relevant as it was in 1935. Or whenever it came out. Why? Because I think not enough people read this book. I'm so happy you're doing this book club, because if you don't learn from the past will always repeat itself. And literature is the greatest way of reminding ourselves what has gone wrong and what we can do to fix it. Sarah, I couldn't have said it better myself. And that's why I picked the books that I'm picking for a very specific reason, so we can become aware, so we can question. But, so at the same time, we can know there are no villains. That's something we can't forget. We can't demonize the people who disagree with us. We have to see the humanity in them, because only through seeing their humanity can we know how to actually affect change. Does everyone understand that? That's one of the most important parts in this book to me. It's that no matter what, when Atticus was threatened by a friend, when Scout's father's reputation was torn by her cousin, when Miss Dubose, this mentally ill woman, would just berate Jem about his father and the how he's contradicting his upbringing, Atticus always says, see the humanity in that person. Atticus always says, no, they're just a person who was in the wrong place that time. They're making the wrong decision. He refuses to demonize anyone. And I think that's so important, because it's hard, especially right now with everything that's going on politically and the way people feel about things and the passion with which they feel them. It's very hard not to say, how the can you think Trump is smart? But we have to find out why. People are people, and they have their reasons, and they have the things that they care about, and there are reasons why. That doesn't mean they can't be changed. That's what's important about this book. That's why we're reading it. That's why I think it's amazing so far, and that's why I kind of am in love with Atticus. I think it's the coolest thing. All right. Yeah. We all know. Thank you for your passion, but let's keep negative things, even about someone who's a terrible person. Let's keep those off the live. Let's talk about good things, positive things. I agree with you, but Trump wasn't the greatest example. But this is what's happening now. So there's a bunch of people that agree with him, and sometimes I find it very difficult to see why or how. But when I see what they're talking about, the things they care about, what they really mean, not the things they seem to care about, what they're actually talking about, it always comes to a place of humanity, coming from a fear, coming from a desire, coming from a need. Aw, tell your mom I say hi, Sarah. How's your brother doing? I hope he's doing well. Tell your whole family I hope they're doing well. There's always a reason for how a person acts. We may not always agree or fully understand that reason. Exactly. Why do you think Jem and Scout call their father Atticus? Rose, we talked about this in our last live. I think they call him Atticus because there's a mutual respect that they like. Look up, stop time. She says to look up, stop time the book. What? What do you mean? Yes, we're going to finish the book this week. Okay, now that we're at like the 15 minutes left mark, let's start moving in the direction of the next few bits. So we've talked about a lot. To read, stop time the book to read. I'm confused, Sarah, I'm sorry. I missed it. If you could write it all out again, I'm sorry. So, we're going to go through the next few books right now. I'll text you later, Kara. Okay. All right, Sarah, I will talk to you soon. Thank you for joining. Thank you for your awesome comments, too. They were great. So we're going to talk about, for the next 5 minutes, we're going to talk about the next 4 books, if that's okay with you guys. And then we're going to do some stuff. So, oh, also, quick thing, because I know some of you guys have hold on a sec. Okay, I know that some of you guys were curious what I thought of Milk and Honey. I finished it. Wow. Oh, the book Stop Time. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Okay, but I finished Milk and Honey on the plane. I read it all in one sitting. I restarted. Oh my gosh, beautiful, beautiful. So many things that are so important in that book. I think every man should read that book personally. Every dude. It was very no, very interesting. Okay, so here's a list. All right. Ooh, that's a good book. That's what we'll read in November. All right, so now it's set. Now the next few books are kind of set. All right, so is everyone ready? If you guys want, we could do a live from Milk and Honey. I mean, I would have to read it again, which won't take long. It takes like 20 minutes to read. It's amazing. But yeah, we can definitely do that. We'll do that sometime. We'll talk about it. It's one of my favorite. I know that it is. I will say this for everyone that's watching right now. Milk and Honey is amazing, but if you're curious about the content, ask your parents if they're okay with you reading it before you do it. It does get... The imagery can be somewhat violent sometimes, I think. I don't know. It's a deep book, and make sure that if you're even curious, I'd rather have you just like don't say that I read it, like, and I told you to, like, have your parents check it out and say that it's cool for you to read. I don't want them to ever feel that I'm imposing things on them that they don't want you to read yet. Oh, I love Bukowski. Huh. Okay. So, as you guys know, we're going to finish this book this week. I want to do that live earlier in the week. We only have 10 chapters left. Not that much. I think we could crush it in a few days. What do you guys think about doing it maybe like a live on Thursday? What do you guys think about doing a live on Thursday? Does that sound good? Yeah? Let me look at a calendar real quick, because we were supposed to start our new book tomorrow, but let's not rush. I like reading and having time and being able to talk about them. So if we do a live on Thursday the 7th, We can start the book over the weekend. Okay, you know what? Let's do a live on Friday, and then we'll start the next book on the 11th. What do you guys think? We'll give the weekend. So let's do that. We're going to do a live on Friday. We're going to talk about this. Saturday? Okay, we'll do a live on Saturday, and we'll talk about the rest of the book. So, Saturday the 9th. Wait, is that right? No, oops. Today's Sunday the 8th. So it's... Oh, wait, why is my calendar still in September? That was throwing me off. Okay, so, Saturday the 8th. Sunday the 8th, it's going to be Saturday the 14th. Okay, sorry. Saturday the 14th at noon, we will do our live for To Kill a Mockingbird. Sunday the 15th, we'll do a short live about some poetry. How does that sound? All right? So Saturday the 14th, we'll do our final live about To Kill a Mockingbird. We'll finish it up. We'll talk about it. It'll be fun. Then maybe we'll see if we can do like the last 15 minutes. We'll do a poetry talk. We'll talk about Milk and Honey. If everyone's cool with that, make sure you ask your parents if it's okay for you to read it. I don't want anyone getting upset. I don't want anyone to think I'm having kids read books that aren't appropriate for them yet. So please make sure your parents are cool with you reading it before you read it and join our lives. And if they are, that's awesome. If not, that's okay. That's totally cool. You'll get to read it some other time. That's the thing about books. They're not going anywhere. You have plenty of time. So next, on the 16th, we will start 1984. 1984 is about 350 pages-ish, almost 400 pages. Let's say it's 400 pages. I want to read 100 pages a week. So we're going to finish that in 4 weeks, if that's cool. That's 20 pages a day in 5 days. So that's not bad. So we'll start that book the 16th. Let's see, 100, 200, 300, 400. So we should finish that book around the week of November 6th. Then the next book is going to be The Diary of Anne Frank. I just released it. The next book is going to be The Diary of Anne Frank. Is everyone cool with that? Give me a sec. I'll get the book. All right, so now everyone knows the book we're reading from October 16th to about November 10th-ish. We're going to figure that out as we go. That's what I like. Our book club has a schedule, but it's kind of chill. We're going to be reading 1984. After 1984, we're reading The Diary of Anne Frank for like our November book. November into December. Then, for December, for Christmas, many of you have asked me about this book. And I think it's a great book to end the year on. I think it has a lot of cool themes. I think it's a very positive book. We're going to read The Alchemist in December by Paulo Coelho. All right? Is everyone excited? Does that sound like a solid couple of months of reading? Yes, I'm glad you guys are enjoying. So we have the current book, To Kill a Mockingbird. We have the next book, 1984, and then we have the next book, The Alchemist. Those are the next 2 books. I will tell you one more. Yeah, I will tell you one more. The book we will be reading in January, I've already read it. Many of you guys might remember me reading it. But we're going to read Tuesdays with Morrie to start the year. So, we have The Diary of Anne Frank. We have The Alchemist. And then we have Tuesdays with Morrie. So you guys know. So, I will, if someone could tweet that for me, awesome. All right, love you, Pops. I'll see you later. I'll call you. Call me when you can. I'm free after this. Well, I'm going... just call me. Call me, Pops. I love you. Tuesdays with Maury. I love it because there's a lot of lessons in it that Maury teaches this writer. And I think a lot of the lessons are great to think about when you're starting a new year. There are things you want to think about. There are things of family, what's really important. As you're centering yourself and trying to focus on your goals for that next year, I think Tuesdays with Maury is a perfect book to start the beginning of the year. So, for what day? For October 16th to like November one sec, guys, sorry. Give me one sec, guys. I'm just making this list so you guys have it. I can write it down and show you. One sec. Sorry, I'm taking forever. All right, so this is our list. October 16th to November 10th, 1984 by George Orwell. November 13th to December 1st, Diary of Anne Frank. December 4th to like January 1st-ish, The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. And then January to February, Tuesdays with Maury. Does everyone get a picture of this? I'm sorry if you can't read my handwriting. It can be kind of scratchy sometimes. So I want everyone to share this on Twitter or whatever. I'll retweet it and stuff. I want everyone to also make a note that all of these dates say ish, because remember, we kind of go as we read. We might say, oh, this book's actually a lot shorter. We can read this faster. Oh, this book's a lot longer. We're going to need more time. So is everyone cool with this? Everyone got what they're thinking? Yes, Kenzie Courtney, I will put this list on my Instagram for everyone to have. So I will do that. I will take a picture of it. It's actually, I'm going to take a nice picture of it with my camera. And I'll put it up. So, those are the next few books. Feel free to share. Remember, anyone can join our book club. Please tell people. Anytime I talk to someone, it's like one of the first things I say, you should join my book club. Guys, we have the chance to change the world by having more people read more books. So, why not try it? Ask your friends. Just be like, hey, I'm in this really cool book club. I like reading. You should try it. If not, don't worry about it. But don't knock it till you've tried it. I also have other books here that I'm thinking of writing in. I'm going to have a new little bit of a list after. But I would say just ask. Ask your friends. Tell your parents. Tell anyone. All of the books we're reading are books that are good for most ages. Not good for the youngest, but probably good for older people as well. They're books that everyone should read, should have read, so they can just kind of be a little more woke right now, frankly. Make America Read Again. Let's make those shirts. I bet they already... I'm going to see. Does that already exist? Oh, yeah. There are already shirts and stuff. I'm actually going to buy myself one of those hats. Make America Read Again. What do you guys think? Yeah. I kind of don't even want to have anything like this, to be honest. I think it's funny, but looking at it written out like this, it looks too much like stuff he says. You know what? Yeah, I might get one. We'll figure it out if I find one. But all right, so we're gonna run out of time soon. Instagram's gonna give me that ticker in a few minutes. I know what's about to happen. So, is everyone clear? Okay, let's have like a 5-minute talk about season 3. What did you guys think of Comic-Con? Make the world read again. I like that. Make the world read again. Yes, Sophia. If you share Milk and Honey with me in PDF, I will retweet it so that other people can read it for a live that week, this coming week. You guys like the teaser? What'd you guys think? Yeah, I know. I missed being there. Me and Dom and I were working, and we were both look how crazy my hair is right now. Dom and I were like, yeah, we missed being there a lot. It's always a lot of fun for us. We love seeing you guys. Yo, the trailer got me hyped too, though. I hadn't seen it until everyone started sharing it. I know. What the hell? April 3rd? That's how I found out. I was like, that's so long. What are we doing? Oh my gosh. But it's okay. It's okay. Oh yeah, I feel bad for Simon too. All right, we got 2 minutes left, guys. The ticker just started. So, really quick rundown. We have our next 4 books. I will post a picture of this piece of paper so that we have it. So we have that. We have talked about To Kill a Mockingbird. The next time we talk, which is this coming Saturday, we finish the book and we talk about it. Then we have our next book. So we're good. Those are all the important things. We'll tweet about them. Everyone tweet me. I'll tweet. I'm sorry. I'll be a little bit better about posting. I was just really busy this week, so I couldn't post anything on Rosende Reads, but I'll do that sometime this weekend. I'm probably going to have a photo shoot this weekend, too, so some new photos will be coming out. And I also have to post photos from New York that I haven't posted yet, so that's going to come out, too. Javier Munoz is absolutely amazing, and I can't wait to see what the work he's done. Does Simon make tacos, though? What time on Saturday? I'm going to say noon right now. I might push it like I did today to 1, but we'll see. You guys, I'm going to have some good photos for you guys this weekend. I think you guys will be very happy. Going to be hanging out with Dom a lot. Oh, I'm so glad you guys that makes me happy. Thank you. I'm grateful that this group exists as well. I'm glad you guys wanted to read with me. I love that. Later. Okay, well, we'll discuss it during the week. So I have 25 seconds. So I just want to say something really quickly before I go. I'm going to give you guys a challenge until our next live. I'm not only challenging you to invite like 1 or 2 people to